IGTV, take 3. Yes, 3. I've tried recording this a couple times already before. It does seem to be a very long video, so warning there. But I'm going to try and do my best to sum it up. So this is my experience with what I've been feeling, what I had been doing, what I'm currently doing, and why I opted for hormone replacement therapy. First of all, I am 41 years old. I am not in menopause, not in perimenopause, at least I don't think I am, so we'll get that out of the way. I'm also not a doctor, so please make good decisions for yourself, speak with your own physician, and do your own research before deciding on your own possible alternative treatment therapies. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let me start by saying what I had been feeling. So, for at least the last year, I would say, my husband might want to argue even longer, but at least about a year, I've had about this much libido, like negative, like zero, like nothing, nada, non existent. Don't touch me, don't want to do it, don't want nothing to do with it. So, no libido whatsoever. I pretty much just equated that to lots of dieting in the past, just being in a calorie deficit a long time, high activity levels, and so just sort of thought it should be coming back, but it never came back. So I did notice that. And then in about January, I would say, I really noticed brain fog, debilitating brain fog. I felt like I couldn't even do my job anymore, and I was actually worried that I was going to have to leave my current profession as a paramedic because my critical thinking skills were like non-existent, definitely suboptimal, and I felt like I was more of a danger than a help, than doing good, and that sucked. So I was very concerned about my brain fog. I also noticed I felt like I had had weight gain around my lower stomach and hips, buttocks, thighs, but that also is normally where I store my body fat. So I thought, nah, it's just normal, and I'm not dieting as hard as I usually am. So maybe that's why. I also noticed really bad digestion starting in March, I think. Um, Definitely for pretty much all of March, just terrible digestion, almost constipated, just never feeling very satisfied, for lack of a better term, bloated, heavy, pressure even, just horrible digestion. That was really infuriating. I noticed really dry skin, brittle nails, no recovery. I definitely noticed, like, as soon as I would start exercising, my heart rate would go up really quick, and then it would stay that way for a really long time, and I just wasn't recovering well from my exercise sessions. I also noticed that when I had increased my activity, I was not losing weight when I really should have been, because I was kind of trying, not super, not like contest prep trying, but I was kind of trying because I felt like I had gained weight and I wanted to lose it. So I increased my activity levels and nothing was happening. So that was definitely a concern. And then I just overall just wasn't feeling good. So maybe as more symptoms come through the video, I'll let you know what those were. But the main ones, zero libido, really poor digestion, weight gain and inability to lose weight, even with like increased activity levels, and no recovery, like just really, really poor recovery. And I wasn't used to that. So I knew something wasn't right. So, right about this time, it was getting close to my birthday, and I hadn't done like my yearly female checkup. So, I was like, I might as well go see my gynecologist and see if she'll run my labs and check my hormone levels. So, that's what I did. I went and got my female wellness check, and I started talking to her about how I was feeling. And she was like, "Well, are you having a period?" I was like, yeah, it's very, very regular. Like, my period is normal. 28 days, 5 to 7 days, normal flow, pretty normal period. I definitely would notice mood swings right around a week before my period, but I thought that's normal. PMS, right? No big deal. So, anyways, yes, normal cycle. She's like, well, then I think it's stress. I didn't really buy it. I felt like I hadn't had any more stress than I usually had. And I had actually already started trying to mitigate my stress levels based on my symptoms that I was having. I thought maybe I was having some sort of adrenal fatigue, excess cortisol. So I was already trying to mitigate my stress. And basically, she was like, yeah, when you have excess cortisol, you feel like you're gaining weight in your belly. So that's probably what it is. Because if your cycle's normal, then your hormones are level, right? Right? That's what they say. So anyway, she did agree to run my hormone levels to see where they were. And to give her huge credit, where most practitioners wouldn't get credit, is that she actually asked me, have you ever heard of Sotapelli? And I was like, I have heard of Sotapelli. And basically what I think Sotapelli is just sort of like a brand name, more advertised hormone replacement therapy that's out there. They have multiple clinics, I think. Anyways, so she was basically like, look, I have to adhere to the guidelines of I think it's called the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. I have to adhere to their guidelines. So I can't just treat you the way these hormone replacement therapy clinics are willing to treat you. She's like, look, they'll give you testosterone and you will feel better. That's what she said. So I was like, okay, well, can we run the labs and at least see where we are? And she was like, yes, I'll go ahead and run the labs, but you're gonna come back normal. She was basically like, you're gonna come back normal. So I was like, okay, fine. So I was on the phone with my husband and telling him a little bit of my frustration while still saying, look, this is what the practitioner said. And he was like, my chiropractor does hormone replacement therapy through his office. I'm calling and making you an appointment. So he did. He called them and they sent me over a lab order to get more lab tests done. And their labs were actually a more comprehensive set than the ones my gynecologist ordered. She did order my testosterone, my estradiol slash estrogen levels, progesterone, ferritin, iron, and vitamin D. I'm like, okay. And the physician, he is a medical doctor, by the way, that runs this hormone replacement therapy clinic, just to get that out there. He ordered my basic lab works, which include a metabolic panel as well as a blood count. Google basic labs, I'm sure those will come up. He also ordered thyroid levels, my sex hormone levels, cortisol. I was like, oh, I'm already impressed. I'm getting more labs ordered from this guy. Perfect. So I got my lab work back, and as my gynecologist predicted, pinnacle of health, everything is in range. So, looking at my labs, I did draw a few of my own conclusions because after doing quite a bit of research on hormones and such, I kind of knew a few terms, and I also knew that a lot of our current lab ranges are not based on people in optimal health. They're based on the average, and the average American is overweight. So let's just put that out there and be straight honest about that. So I kind of knew. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in range, but that might not necessarily be optimal for me per se. I was also doing my own sort of holistic treatment in the sense that I was trying to optimize my nutrition for my digestion, for my hormones, already trying to mitigate my stress management. Even before I saw my gynecologist, I was already doing all the things that I could do to be healthy. And in so doing, I was doing a lot of research. So putting that out there. So when I saw my labs, I was like, well, from what I can tell, I do feel like there are some issues, but I'm just wondering what this replacement therapy doctor might say. And he pretty much validated everything that I thought. So, first of all, I thought my testosterone was low, especially because of my zero libido. I thought I had none. And females need testosterone too, okay? It's not just a male hormone. So the in range for my labs is 2 to 45. I was 34. I was like, oh, I was wrong. I guess my testosterone's fine. And I really did think that. So I was like, oh, okay, let's move on to the next one, estradiol. So for a female, there's different ranges at different times in your cycle. So based on where I was in my cycle, my estrogen did appear high. Anyone heard of the term estrogen dominance? Google it. I love me some Google. So I'm like, I wonder if I'm estrogen dominant. I wonder if he's going to say that. And kind of based on some of the symptoms I was having, I was kind of leaning that way. My progesterone looked fine from what I could tell. Let me look at the range for that really quick. So progesterone, based on where I was in my cycle, looked like it was in the middle. The range is 0.06 to 0.89, and I was at 0.29. So I was like, okay, progesterone must be fine. Didn't think anything about it. Everything else, like I said, labs look great. Then I got to my thyroid. Okay, so levels for labs, the ranges. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. The range for that one is... Dun, 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 where are you? I passed it. Okay, so the range for that one is 0.45 to 4.5, and I was at 1.94, middle to low end. So I thought, okay, good. You actually don't want high on the thyroid stimulating hormone, okay? So my T3 free. This one I was like, oh, wait a second. That one's not right. Here's the range. 2.0 to 4.8. And I was at 2.2. Clinically low? No. Suboptimal? Abso-freaking-lutely. It was barely in range. That actually explained a lot, but I wasn't sure what this hormone replacement therapy doctor was going to say. I knew my normal doctor would say, probably tell me to increase some iodine intake. I don't know. You know, I was already doing all the things. Okay, I was doing all the things. My nutrition was on point. I couldn't do any more. So I was wondering what he was going to say about that. I go to the appointment. I was validated across the board. Absolutely. In fact, even surprised, because he told me a testosterone optimal range is 50 to 500. 50 to 500 and not 2 to 45. I was wondering what sort of female is going to have any libido with a testosterone of 2. But who am I? I'm just a lowly paramedic. I'm not a doctor, okay? Not a doctor. So he was like, yeah, your testosterone's low. That's why you have no libido. Oh, okay, cool. Good to know. Interesting. Would I have ever been treated by any other normal, conventional, let's just say conventional physician? No. He also said, your progesterone's low. and you're estrogen dominant. He's like, you're pretty estrogen dominant, is what he said. So I was right with that, but I didn't know like my progesterone was actually low. Would any other conventional physician say that? No, no. And then thyroid. He's like, yeah, your thyroid is sluggish, is what he said. So basically, it's still functioning, but barely, which really explains a lot of my symptoms: the dry skin, the energy, the digestion, even the inability to lose weight, even though I was trying to do all the things, possibly even the weight gain. A lot of my symptoms were probably due to this sluggish thyroid. So that was very enlightening. So, treatment plan for me, first of all, testosterone. I got a little pellet. It's this little tiny pellet. I don't even know what it looks like. I didn't see him put it in, but he inserted it in my upper glute to lower hip area. It's going to last 3 months, and I'll get my levels tested again. He also gave me a medication for my thyroid that is not your typical levothyroxine or synthroid, because it might not be converted into the good T3, the active T3, or the T3 that does the good things. I don't know. I'll do more research on that and try and figure it out. But he did tell me that Levo and Synthroid, they do stimulate release of T3, but they can't guarantee that it's going to be converted into the good type. I need the good type, so he gave me the good type. I'm not going to try and pronounce that for you, but yeah, I got a prescription for that. It's just every morning pill that I take. And then I'm also advised to take an over-the-counter supplement, DIM. If you haven't heard of it, Google it. That will help with estrogen metabolizing. So I don't have so much estrogen kind of just, chilling and pumping through the body. So it could help metabolize that. So far, that is my treatment. We're going to reevaluate in 3 months with more labs and with how I'm feeling. They don't just go by lab values, which is amazing because that to me is good medicine. As a paramedic, I was always taught treat the patient, not the monitor. And that's what doctors need to learn. Treat the patient, not the lab values. Especially when the lab values are for really unhealthy people, the average American. Sorry, not sorry. So, interesting. Now, 4 days in, that's where I'm at. I'm 4 days in, and I can't tell you how crazy it was that the day after I took the thyroid medication, my digestion, 180, completely flipped. So much freaking better. And when you've been shitting like a rabbit for weeks and weeks, it is so just relieving to have that be resolved. I can't believe it. It is so much better, like so much better. Good digestion is everything. I did the probiotics, I did the prebiotics, I'm doing the digestive enzymes, I'm doing the fiber, doing the good fats, doing all the things. Nothing was working. Take a little thyroid bump. Amazing. Like that's been the biggest, most noticeable effect so far. I also noticed that my mood has super stabilized. I didn't even realize it was an issue until it wasn't. So that's been amazing. So much better there. Energy levels seem to be pretty on point. I have noticed my appetite has totally changed. I have no sugar cravings like I used to. I eat when I'm hungry, I finish when I'm full, and I'm definitely just like naturally not as food focused. And I didn't know that I really was until I wasn't. Another strange thing. I feel like my skin already isn't as dry. I can moisturize and it stays moisturized, which before I felt like I was constantly trying to lotion everywhere. So that is something that I've noticed so far. And we're only 4 days in, 4 days in. So I think the big telling thing is going to be my libido. That is going to determine on if my testosterone levels are actually at their optimal level for me. That's going to take time. I think it needs to kind of build up in my system a little bit. Not too sure, but I will keep everyone posted on that. So, as I wrap this very, very long video up, please, 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 first, before you do anything, get on top of your nutrition, your stress management, your activity levels, and your sleep. Do all those things first before you really, really start thinking that you need any sort of alternative treatment. I can't tell you, I really, really, truly think that I mitigated a lot of my symptoms once I really got on top of those things. I noticed the heart rate recovery well before I started any of this treatment. Once I started really optimizing my nutrition, increasing my calories, making sure it was really from good, clean food sources, and lowering my activity levels and focusing on stress management and just doing activity in order to like feel good, not because I just felt like I got to do as much as I can. I noticed my heart rate. Wow, like that was really surprising. Like it was harder to get it up and it would come down way faster. So that's pretty cool. So I did notice that. I think it would have been really nice to know what my lab values were before I started really focusing on my nutrition and stress management and all of that fun stuff, because they were probably worse. I would bet that they were a lot worse. So, if you can't get on top of your nutrition and all of that stuff, don't do this. Don't do any other treatment yet. You got to get that in freaking like on it, like get it in check. Brain fog, I swear it's better, it's getting a little better. I'll keep you updated on that too, but I'm pretty sure the brain fog is getting better. But really, if you optimize your nutrition, then when you do take alternative treatments, you're just gonna optimize those too. Does that make sense? Get the most out of everything. You get the most out of your food, you get the most out of your sleep, your stress management, your activity. You'll get the most out of any other treatments you decide to undergo. So I'm going to wrap this up. It's been a long one. I'll keep you all posted. DM me any questions that you might have. I hope this was an informative video, just sharing my experience. This is for me and my own body chemistry, so you're probably not going to be the same. So keep that in mind. Every person is different. Always advocate with yourself. Don't just believe what any doctor tells you, and stay healthy.